Hey guys, Jonty Hikmet here. Welcome to today's video. In today's video, I'm going to speak about what to do when in pain. In other videos, I've spoken about my process to get people lasting relief from pain. I've spoken about various methods. In this video, I want to speak about what to do in the specific moment pain is happening during an ordinary moment in life. This video is usually applying for moments when we're in pain during the day. It can apply for the night, but I'll probably do a different video for the night. So this video is mostly for daytime pain. So when we're in pain, we have two options, at least according to my methods and my process. We can either learn to sit with it, which is going to be the main thing I'm going to speak about today, or we learn to self-soothe. Self-soothing happens when all the emotions and the bodily sensations and everything is too overwhelming and sitting with it is just too much. We just learn how to self-soothe instead. We do some self-soothing and then we go back to sitting with. If the self-soothing worked, we can go back to sitting with what's arising for us. But let's go through each of these one by one. So starting with the sitting with. During a moment of pain, we learn how to sit with it. And the way that I like to teach it, if you're in my community, you know about the 4 components of health: emotional, mental, physical, and spiritual. And specifically in a moment when we have pain, to sit with it, we're learning how to pause, be with our emotions, be with our body, see what we need in self-care and time. So it's not, I try to create an acronym out of this, I didn't do a good job. PEBST. In a moment of pain, we learn to pause, attend to our emotions, our body, self-care, and we give it time. So I'll go through each of these one by one just so we know. So in a moment of pain, it's not always ideal. We could be at work, we could be with our kids, we could be doing something where we just don't want to have the symptoms. So the first part of the sitting with is noticing that we have pain and just pausing with ourselves. It could be that we just take a minute to ourselves. It could be that we remove ourselves from that environment if we can, and we give ourselves 30 minutes. I mean, if we can get 30 minutes to pause, then that's perfect. But the pausing, really what the pausing is about is basically about giving ourselves time. So you may not be able to read that. It says giving ourselves time in my terrible handwriting. But the first thing we want to do when we have the onset of pain is pause and go, okay, I've got pain right now. I'm going to give myself 5 minutes. I'm going to go into a different room, or I'm going to go for a walk. I need to pause and I just need to be with this. I need to sit with this right now. That's the first thing that we do. Like I said, it may not always be so easy. If we're really doing something that commits our attention in that moment, like in the middle of a meeting or in the middle of being with kids, then maybe the pausing is just taking a mental note and saying, hey, I need to get back to this later. Or, I'll get back to this in an hour. Or when I'm done with this commitment, straight after, I'm going to do what I need to do. So the pausing is really either actually pausing and taking a couple of moments to yourself, or doing a mental note and say, I need to come back to this in 10 minutes when I'm done with this commitment, or whenever it is, or later. So pausing, pretty simple. Next thing is the emotions. So in an ideal scenario, we're able to pause and then immediately we're able to attend to our emotions. And what I'd like you to do immediately is have either your phone or a journal, your laptop, something to write on, and just to notice the feelings that are coming up for you in the exact moment of pain. So the question that, I know I'm in front of the screen right now, but I'm just going to write it out first. How do I feel towards pain? And obviously, if you've seen any of my other videos, it can be any pain. It doesn't only have to be physical pain. It could be that you're feeling anxious. This also applies. Or you're feeling pretty low. How do I feel towards pain? How do I feel towards my anxiety? What emotions are coming up for me right now? So it's all about acknowledging what's coming up for you and starting to write it in the journal. Starting to write, I'm feeling this way. I'm feeling frustrated. I'm feeling afraid. And if you're in my community or you've watched any of my other videos, you know that how we feel towards our symptoms is usually the emotion that our symptoms are trying to get us to feel. not only learning how to feel those emotions, but also learning how to allow those emotions. And the way to feel and allow those emotions is to start to write them out, or to start to notice them in the body and let them know that they can be here. The reason why people struggle with this is they overly identify with the story of their emotions. So they notice a part of them feeling afraid of their symptoms, and they think, I can't feel this fear, I can't be afraid. Or they notice frustration towards their symptoms, and they say, oh, I can't feel this frustration, I can't be frustrated at the symptoms. But this is a mistake. The whole point of noticing our emotions when pain arises is to no longer identify with the story. Even if the story of your fear is that you're afraid of emotions, it doesn't matter. Let it be afraid, regardless of the story. Write out, I'm really, really afraid of my symptoms right now. It's scaring me. I can feel the fear in my body. I'm really frustrated at these symptoms. I wish they would go away. It doesn't matter what the story of the emotion is. All it matters is you identify the emotion, you acknowledge it, and you begin to start allowing it by writing it. Or if you've paused and you've given yourself a moment to meditate or to journal, so let's say with pausing, you're either meditate, journal. You've opened up a book, or you're doing it on your laptop, or you're doing it on your phone. You're able to acknowledge how you're feeling and learn to allow it in the body. Learn to allow it to just be there. So with the emotional section, how do I feel towards my pain? Start to write out exactly how the emotion is feeling, regardless of the story, regardless of why the emotion is there. Just let it be there. If you feel confused, if you don't know how you're feeling, let yourself feel confused. If you feel full of doubt, let yourself feel doubtful. What, am I doing this process correctly? Like Jonty told me in the YouTube video. Doesn't matter what the story of your emotion is. Let doubt be there. Let confusion be there. Let fear be there. Let frustration be there. Let anger be there. You may notice these emotions are coming up for you towards the symptoms themselves. Or it could be that you're really angry towards your kid, or you're really angry towards someone at work. And then maybe you feel guilty about it. Let yourself feel guilt. Just start writing the guilt out, regardless of the story. Sitting with emotions is learning how to acknowledge what's arising for you and allowing it to be there, either with journaling or with meditation. You also learn how to do this in self-talk. I know I'm saying a lot of different things. If you're in my community, you know how we attend to self-talk. With self-talk, we're learning how to validate how we're feeling, but also choosing to take an optimistic or resilient perspective about the situation. So we learn to say, I'm afraid right now. Right now, what's coming up for me is lots of fear, lots of frustration. This can be here. That's validating how you're feeling. It's okay that these emotions are here, regardless of the story. I can feel fear. But what have I decided that I can get through this? That's a resilient perspective. What have I decided that actually symptoms can be here, emotions can be here, and it's going to be fine, it's going to be safe. This takes practice to do. You get better at it once you start to meditate and journal in the way that I teach in my community. If you're in the community watching this, hopefully you've already watched some of these videos. But self-talk here, I'm just going to write self-talk, is learning how to say to yourself, it's okay that I'm feeling these ways and I'm going to get through this. You can even say to yourself, it's okay that parts of me are pessimistic right now. Being optimistic doesn't mean you invalidate your pessimistic parts. Being optimistic means you identify the fact that there are pessimistic parts, there are cynical parts, and you're able to go, yeah, go on, be pessimistic, that's fine, this can be here as well. Your optimism envelops everything, including the pessimistic parts, including the doubtful parts, and the cynical parts. It allows it all to be there in self-talk. I'm feeling pessimistic right now, I'm not quite sure that I'm going to get through this, I understand why this is here, this has been really difficult for me, but what have I decided? I'm going to take this one step at a time. I did a video on this about beliefs, about how we transition to these more empowering beliefs. It's about bringing the pessimistic and the cynical parts with us. It's not about saying, piss off, I'm optimistic now. It's about bringing them with and suggesting new perspectives. So I've said a lot about the emotional stuff in this sitting with section because it's very important. We pause, we give ourselves some time, we start to write out the emotions we're feeling and we learn to acknowledge them and allow them using some journaling, some self-talk, some meditation if we can. And then the next thing we do is we connect to the body. You may have already been connecting to the body with your emotional section. You may already have been doing this. But if you haven't, connecting to the body is doing exactly what we've done with the emotions. It's learning how to be with sensations in the body and practicing to just let yourself know it's okay that this is here. Like, let's say there's tension in the shoulders. It's about sitting with that tension and just getting curious, placing your attention on it and just letting the sensation rise, letting it move, just starting to approach and attend to sensations in the body with more curiosity, with more, let's see if this gets bigger. Let's see if it moves around. This is something that's very widely spoken about in lots of these communities as somatic tracking. Somatic tracking, soma means body in Latin, I believe. So somatic tracking is bodily tracking. We're basically sitting down, and again, you could do this in meditation, you could do this with your eyes open, and you just start to track what's arising for you in the body and practicing to just let it be there. Letting it rise, letting it fall, letting it become calm and then become intense again. We learn how to do somatic tracking. So when you sit with, in a moment of pain, you pause, you start to write out emotions that you're feeling, acknowledging them, allowing them. You start to allow the sensations in the body as much as you can. Let's move on to self-care. Self-care, again, if you've watched other videos or you're in my community, it involves some of the other components of health. So in the 4 components, it's emotional, mental, physical, and spiritual. We've covered the emotional health here, attending to our emotional. We've also somewhat attended to our mental health here, but I'm dialing in a lot more just on the emotional health, dialing in a lot more about the body. And then with self-care, it's about looking at all the other things that we can do in that moment. So I'm going to come over to this side so I can write. One of the most important things in self-care is community. Community support. What is under here? Oh, it's this. That's why that's happening. Community support. So during a moment of symptoms, is there someone you can talk to? Do you have community? Do you have a friend or a family member or a colleague or a pain relief community? You know, if you're in this pain relief community right now, reach out to us in a moment of pain. You know, pause, attend to your emotions, attend to your body, and then write me a DM, write a message in the community. Just reach out for support immediately. Right? You can do the whole thing in the community. You can say, I've been feeling this way and this has been terrible. Just reach out to people, get support, get guidance. Self-care as well. So communities are probably the most important one. Other important ones here, let me write out, you're probably maybe not going to see it, but environment. Is the environment I'm in right now conducive to how I'm feeling? Should I remove myself if I can from this environment? Should I just go for a walk? Should I just go into another room? Do I need to relax more? Do I need to exercise, or maybe I need to do less exercise? Is there a conversation I've been putting off? Communication. Is there someone I need to talk to right now? Anything else here I can think of? Environment, I guess, is nature. Maybe later you tell yourself, hey, I'm going to have a bath. I'm going to watch some Netflix. Bath, Netflix. So self-care. So you've paused, you've attended to your emotions with journaling, meditation, self-talk. You've connected to your body. You've reached out to community support. If you don't have a community, I really recommend that you do. You find yourself one. Environment, relaxation. Should I exercise or should I not exercise today? Is there someone I need to communicate more with? Is there a conversation I'm putting off? Should I have a bath? Should I watch Netflix? Music. Music's a great one. So I put on some music. Smells. I know some people, they light a candle, or I like to smell incense or something like that. That can help to in the self-care section. So pause, emotions, body, self-care. The last one is time. Okay. Time is really just something that you reflect back to yourself. You say, hey, this is happening right now, but this will pass. I mean, this is something that we do in self-talk. With the time factor. There's something amazing about starting to do this process. You realize that the more that you meditate consistently, the more you notice the inevitability of change. The more you notice that even though things get difficult, they eventually pass. I mean, the annoying thing about that is even though things are good, they will also pass. But something is fascinating about time is that you can have a really bad day, go to sleep, and the next day it can be fine. Or you can have a really good day, go to sleep, and the next day and it's terrible again. So in some ways you could say time's not on our side, but actually time is on our side, because you're only really ever a couple of moments from attending to what you need to attend to finding an easier place to be. I'm not going to say it's going to be better and amazing as soon as you do this. In fact, it could remain challenging the rest of the day. It could remain challenging for a couple of days. But what you're beginning to do is give yourself more space to allow what needs to be there. Your emotions, the sensations in your body. You've reached out to community, and then all you need to really start to affirm to yourself is time. You just need to say to yourself, I'm just going to give this time. This is okay. I'm just going to keep doing what I need to do. Even if parts of you are like, no, I need this to be gone now. I can't be with this. This is an emotion that's coming up for you, an emotion that maybe is fearful. You let the fearful emotion be here. Jonty says I need to give this time and it's fine and it's probably going to be okay later or tomorrow. But parts of me are doubting that. So I'm just going to let that doubt be here. I'm going to let that frustration be here. Pause, emotions, bodily, self-care, time. PEBST doesn't really work as an acronym. Obviously, there's a lot we can speak about here. This is something that you can do in 5 minutes. This is something you can give yourself half an hour to do. You can do it multiple times throughout the day. Like I said, it's more applicable to daytime at night than nighttime. You can obviously do this in the night as well. This definitely applies to the night. I've got guided sleep meditations. If you're in the community, then hopefully, or maybe you've listened to them. It's not about trying to relax the body. It's trying to allow what's there in the middle of the night. So maybe I'll come back to this in a bit, but let's just move on for now. That's the sitting with option. For some people, sometimes sitting with your emotions and your body is far too uncomfortable during pain. It's too much. And during those moments, it's like, Jonty, I just can't. Pain is too much, or it's just too difficult for me. So I can't sit with things. In that case, self-soothe. Even though everything I'm teaching in my meditations and in my community is to try and steer away from self-soothing and to learn to actually acclimatize to all states of being, sometimes pain is too much, or sometimes it's all too overwhelming, and sitting with emotions in our body is too difficult. In that case, we can do a bit of self-soothing just to teach ourselves that it's okay, that we're safe. I've just come up with the exact same acronym, PEBST, but it's a bit different what comes in there. The first one is to pause still. So we're still taking a moment just to go, okay, I'm in pain. I'm just going to quickly just pause with myself and notice what I need. So the pausing here again, it depends how much time you have. If you have 30 minutes, great. If you have 5 minutes, that's also okay. It's just as much, if you need to get back to it later, that's okay. So we're pausing it first. Next thing we're doing, instead of emotions, because remember, emotions are too difficult to be with in this scenario, is environment. So the E here stands for environment. And this is about really changing the environment that you're in. Even if it's like you go from one room to the other, or you go from inside to outside, or you're speaking to someone and then you just take yourself away from the situation. It's about, in this example, self-soothing, changing the environment. And again, it may not drastically change things, but it's like, okay, maybe this environment that I'm in right now is not conducive to me just really finding a place of, soothe. So I'm just going to change the environment, change room, change my bodily position maybe. Maybe I'm lying down too much and I need to sit up. Change the environment. Breathe is the next one. Okay, again, this isn't something in my meditations I usually tell people if the breath is tight, or it's feeling heavy, just let it feel tight and heavy. But if it's really all feeling too overwhelming, the anxiousness is feeling too overwhelming, the pain is feeling too overwhelming, then breathing is perfect for self-soothing. There's something that we can do that, again, I'll put in this community, and hopefully maybe you've learned if you're watching this video, where you do box breathing, where you do like 3 seconds of inhales and then maybe 5 seconds of exhales. And you do this with one hand on the belly and one hand on the chest. and you go, you basically take longer with the exhale than the inhale. I say 3 seconds inhale and 5 seconds exhale. It can be for you, it could be 4 seconds inhale and 6 seconds exhale. You just make the exhales longer than the inhales with the hands on the chest and the belly. You can even pause at the top. So you can go pause and then exhale. Do that a couple rounds. Do that for minutes at a time. Breathing. And then self-care is the S as well. So here is also self-care. So it's also community. I'm going to write it again, just how important community is. Is there someone that you can speak to when this is happening, when you're having a moment? Can you write in our community right now? Can you say, hey, this is all difficult for me. I try to sit with it, but I just really need to self-soothe. Can I get some support right now? And again, all the same things in the self-care before applied. Music, smells, Netflix, call a friend, nature. And then again, time is also with time, you're trying to say to yourself, okay, this is for now. This is going to pass. Even if parts of me don't believe it's going to pass, I'm just going to let the day go by. I'm going to call someone. I'm going to sleep on it. See how I feel tomorrow. See how I feel this weekend. You can always come back to community. Okay, so that how many minutes have I done? 21 minutes. Okay, this is a long video. So I'll end it there. You've got two options when in a moment of pain. You either sit with it or you self-soothe. If you self-soothe for a bit and then you're like, okay, I'm actually ready to sit with it, then you can go back to sitting with it. You can just come back to this. You can say, okay, I think I've soothed enough. I'm ready to sit with it. That's the video. I'm going to stop. It's about 20 minutes here. Thanks for watching. Any questions you have, if you're in the community, obviously right below in this post, or if this is on YouTube, you can write in the YouTube comments, and I'm here for you. Thanks for watching, and speak to you soon.